Welcome to Subramani. Uh, as a school student or maybe even a college student, there are times when you did joint study. Joint study was actually a time when everybody was like panicking, didn't know what to do. So you sat together and you found that when you sit collectively, you feel less nervous. But it doesn't mean it didn't never meant that you were studying. You were having maybe you were having cups of coffee. I never believed that group study would work, so I never did it. But yeah, I know a lot of friends would sit in the terrace, switch on the lights, complain about mosquitoes, carry coffee in a thermos. Right. So what am I driving at? I'm saying that when you panic, you want company. You want to say, "Oh, I have not studied, but my friends have also not studied." Kind of a support. Some activities are always to be done in a group. For example, if you're playing cricket, there's no way how you can play cricket alone. But some sports, including running or swimming or cycling, is something which you can do alone. But you can also do in a group, right? You can always go group running. Group runs can be organized. Group cycling can be organized. Group swims are a little difficult because we don't have mega big swimming pools in India. But yeah, you can always have 2-3 of you going to the pool at the same time and meeting and some kind of socializing. What am I driving at? I'm driving at saying I always thought investing was a lonely thing, right? You invested on your own because your style is different, your needs are different, your risk appetite is different. So you never did a group activity in investing. Period. Today, group activity in investing seems to be the in thing. Everybody wants to create a group. Every YouTuber wants to create his own group which will listen to him, which will hear him, and which will do things which he says. So there are people who have never invested, whose investing knowledge is restricted to what they have read, and who are all now saying, I will teach you how to construct a portfolio, I will teach you in 2 hours I will finish off all your problems. I am very scared of this echo chamber, because in the echo chamber you hear some names which get repeated often: Asian Paints, Pidilite, ITC, HDFC Bank. I may have all these shares in my portfolio. So to the extent that I am talking about it doesn't mean I don't like these shares. In fact, I've have whatever all these shares. But friends getting together to invest is not a very new idea, but it is not a very sensible idea, because these are people whom you do not know at all. So if there are 1000 people buying ITC, it's a great thing when you're buying, but it will be a disastrous thing when you're selling, right? So will you sell? When will you sell? Because each person has to do it individually. For example, I will not buy ITC because I think ITC spreads cancer, but that's my view, right? You could have a different view. So when I see social media replies to questions, and I hear things like, oh, you should always invest in high yielding blue chip stocks like Nestle. When was Nestle high yielding? Have you seen 8% dividend in Nestle ever? It never happens. These are high PE stocks. I am not getting into whether you should buy Nestle or buy Coal India, right? I have Nestle, I have Coal India, right? I don't have a problem with what you buy, but I'm saying having real life friends is very different from having friends who are on online friends. For example, my broker is a very good friend of mine. If I had my way, I would have been sitting with say 10,000 or 12,000 shares of DFHL, but he made sure that I did not put more than 600 shares into Diwan Housing, which also I got rid of at something like 60 bucks or 65 rupees. I got rid of it. Yes, I bought it at a higher price. Yes, I made a loss, but it could have been much worse, because I have friends who would invest with me who will also call me and say, what nonsense is this? Let me give you an example. Recently, you may even guess the name of the company. I had sold the share at 380 rupees. It fell all the way to 200. Then when the price went up, I called up a friend who's been a fund manager in the past. He is retired. He said, no, Subra, I've always had corporate governance issue with this company. I put my hand on it and said, I will not buy it. Will I say something negative like this about any company in a public forum? Answer is no. I always thought investing is an individual activity. It's very dangerous to get caught in an echo chamber, and an echo chamber where you have no clue how the others are interested in that, right? So what happens if it's not a very great, well-known company and somebody is promoting it, somebody is talking it up, maybe somebody wants to sell it, so you buy the share at 20, it goes to 80, it goes to 200, you're thrilled and you think, oh my, I bought it, therefore it went up, and then they dump everything at 200 and they walk out, and you find that you can't sell the share even at 6 rupees, right? These things have happened in the past. It's very dangerous, and there is no way how SEBI can regulate this, right? So watching a movie with friends is very different, and watching investing go up or investments go up is also dangerous. You see websites today which say which is the top share which all our people have bought, which is the share in which everybody has an F&O position. This is not data which matters, right? If everybody is buying Reliance, it does not mean you should be buying Reliance. See whether Reliance is there, you need it in your portfolio. If I already have Reliance in my portfolio, how does it help that somebody tells me Reliance is a good buy? Or if I have tons of HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited and I know they're going to get merged, does it help that somebody tells me HDFC Bank is a good buy? I need somebody who would look at my portfolio and say, portfolio sizing wise, I think it's time that you got rid of HDFC Bank and not bought more, right? So knowing what is important, this is like generic advice which may or may not be good. It's like saying, oh, you have groundnuts, it's good, it's a good source of protein. Of course it's a good source of protein, but what if you are allergic to nuts, right? And there are a lot of people who are allergic to nuts. So if you have nut allergy or groundnut allergy or whatever, then you are doomed. You cannot do that. So having real life friends who are investing, who are also maybe same age or give or take 5-10 years here or there, then you know what they do, you know what is their profession, you know how much they spend time on research, right? I will not listen to somebody whom I have never met, and online I have very many friends. I mean, I see kind of nonsense which is happening online, the kind of advice which people get, saying, oh, making 100x in real estate is not very difficult. 100x in real estate, what time period? Are you talking about 40 years? Are you talking about 45 years? I have no clue, right? So somebody coming and giving you advice on real estate, on gold, on equity, on debt, anything, it could be very dangerous. To me, it doesn't matter whether you buy equity or you buy gold or you buy real estate, but understand what you're doing, right? So whether it's your portfolio allocation, whether it is your portfolio sizing or choosing of companies, everything is important, which has to be learnt individually. You cannot sit in a group and hope that someday something will be right. This is exactly what is happening, because you are afraid to do things on your own. You think, oh, there is so many people are doing it, so it can't be wrong. This is like watching a movie on Netflix with 4 other friends from different locations and saying, wow, see what is happening and things like that. Great, but for entertainment, yes, but your investment should not become entertainment. When your investment becomes entertainment or socializing, it could be very dangerous. Be careful. Markets work well when a lot of people think diversely and buy or sell, right? So somebody thinks Reliance is a good sell, I think Reliance is a good buy, so I buy, he's selling, right? If all of us are in one group, or if these groups become very big, there is a risk that during bull markets they can talk up a share and then dump it on you, and I'm sure this is going to happen. So first of all, the word social media, there is nothing social about social media. These are all commercial media. Everybody there is trying to do something to make money, and they're having fun. I'm in the having fun category, because I do make money, which is Google ad money. It's not as though my Google ads is zero, but it is insignificant, I can tell you that. But if I were to do sponsored stuff, the money at stake can be much higher. So if I talk to you about a fund house or a fund philosophy and it is being paid for by the fund house, you have to be worried as to what I'm saying, whether it is right or wrong. Now if it's a group where anybody is allowed to come in and stay there, say whatever they want, How will you know what is right, what is wrong? How will you know what is that person's real life capability? What they say on paper could be very different and very wrong, right? So education may not be everything. They may not have correct experience which is suitable for you. In a bull market, talking of the market is not very difficult. In the bear market, you wouldn't know where to hide. You wouldn't know whether that was genuine tip or whether it was a talking up the share. So if all of us go and do the same thing, if we all buy the same share at some time when we all try to sell the same share, what is going to happen? There is a difference in strategy between when I own 10,000 shares of HDFC Bank, or I like LIC, or I own 2% of the Indian market or 3% of the Indian market. If I hold that kind of a hold, if I have on the equity markets, there is something which I can do, something which I can't do. For example, ICICI Prudential or HDFC Mutual Fund cannot sell all their SBI holdings in a day. It's going to take them 8 months, 9 months to do that. Now, if all the friends that you have found online talk up one share, let's talk up a company called Deccan Gold. It's a very small company, not very widely held. It's a gold company. It's very easy for me to create a WhatsApp group and talk of the share. Not WhatsApp group, maybe a social media group on Twitter or somewhere, and I can talk of the share. I can then sell off and then say I continue to hold and it is good, etc. I may be holding 100 shares. I may today be holding 1 lakh shares, but I would have got rid of say 99,000 shares, and then I would still be holding shares. In a bull market, you will find a lot of people bragging about what they did. They will not tell you about the money that they lost. So with more and more bulls, with bigger and bigger megaphones available to brag, chances are if you are not in that bragging category, you will get pulled in and say, wow, I think this is fantastic. I should buy Nestle, or I should buy Deccan Gold, or I should buy XYZ. Maybe I should buy some Unicorn Pharma or something like that. Create a new company, talk up the share, dump it and go away. I know banks who are happy to fund an IPO because they know that after the IPO is successful, that money will be used to repay bank loans. If you don't know any of these things, if you do not know why you're buying, what you're buying, who is asking you to buy, chances are you will end up not knowing when to sell. Or you will try to sell when the share price has already fallen to 6 and you find now there are no takers, right? So you do not know who is talking of the share, why they are talking of the share, who is behind the talk, right? If you do not know any of these things and you are caught in echo chambers, don't confuse that for real life friends. A real life friend of mine can pick up the phone and say, I bought this share, but I think there is a problem in the management, let's get rid of it. These things happen. It is not as though I buy a share and hold it permanently for the next 40-50 years. I buy a share, then I find there is a problem. There is one company which is now extinct, and I sold that because that guy was gambling big time during Diwali, and the way he was talking got conveyed to me from one of the big card game gambling which people do during Diwali, and he said, Subra, but this promoter of yours whom you were recommending very strongly was doing this. So we all got rid of the share and the share is no longer visible. So I'm not even going to mention that. This is a very, very old story, 1980s, 90s, 1990s kind of story. These things happen. So if you are caught in the echo chamber, you can get hurt. And in a bull market, it is easy to talk up a share. There is nothing how SEBI can even find out what is happening, and by the time SEBI finds out, you would have lost your money. Be careful. Social media, or whatever it is called, I don't even know why it is called social media, is a place where you can come, have fun, maybe learn something, but not a place where you treat these YouTubers and clubs as your portfolio managers. It's be a huge mistake that you're making. Be careful. Thank you.